Well, hello guys, how are you? Today is Tuesday, December 26th. I apologize if there are any extraneous noises. I am in my office. My husband is currently out for a hair and beard trim, which he sorely needed. I do really like his beard, but it was getting a little bit chaotic. So, I'm glad he's doing that. But anyway, the noises. Yeah, I tried to do a little test shoot and there's a lot of background noise. Hopefully you don't hear that. Especially because I'm talking, so we'll see. Oop, hit my stand there. I also have my dogs in here, so thankfully I am adept enough at using Movie Maker to clip stuff out, because my dogs can get crazy sometimes. Right now they're pretty chill, so we'll see. Yeah, so Stitch with Me's have been a thing for a while, but recently they've gotten pretty popular. I actually have not watched the original Off the Gritter recorder, video maker, creator. I don't know, I really have to get to it. FlossTube has exploded, which is wonderful, but I just can't keep up. I've heard both Michelle Bendy Stitchy and Letitia, the Crafty Curator, mention Caroline in her videos, which I really need to go watch. I just haven't had a chance to, so she's on my list. What I really need to do is, instead of just adding people, writing down, you know, the usernames on a little pad or something, so that I can look at it and remember to go back and find those people, because I'll just, you know, subscribe and I won't always remember, and sometimes the little screenshot you get when people upload a video isn't even enough to show you, like, oh, who is that, or is that a new person, or what. But yeah, so I apologize if the angle's a little bit wonky. I kind of put a test video up on Stitch Mania. It's like a 15-second video. A couple people replied there. One person didn't really have any advice to give, but she was curious about my project, which, by the way, this is Quotes to Live by Sal by Stitch Rovia, also known as Emma Cogden. This is available on her Etsy shop. I will try and remember to put a link to that below. I apologize, my foot is itchy. Yeah. This was a Sal from last year. I believe it started either in January or February. I get the feeling it was in January, and that you got the border and the first quote. And then it went through September, and I kept up with it for about 5 months, and then I just didn't stitch a lot. So yeah, so I'm trying to get that finished. I've got 4 quotes left. One of the reasons was because I'm doing color conversions for every quote. So because of that, I kind of have an idea of what kind of colors I want in every section of the sampler. And I was waiting for the quote that's on the other side of this one, which I know you can't see right now, to be released, and I was thinking, well, it'll probably be the next one. Turns out, instead of releasing them clockwise, she released them counterclockwise, so there were 4 corners left, and she started here and went counterclockwise, so it ended up being the last one released. So I'm glad I waited, because it did affect my choice of color. So anyway, this one currently is the 6th release. So that was, let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June. So this must have been June's release. And I'll probably work on it clockwise, just because I've got my fabric already stretched out here, so I might as well do these top two corners and then go down and do the other 2. So I'm not stitching it in the order it was released, which is fine. I had obviously been doing that up to this quote because I was stitching it as it was being released. I do really like it. I'm a little bummed because it was the first sal that I had actually kept up with. But that's okay. Yeah, so I hope everybody had a great Christmas Eve and Christmas, if that's something that you celebrate. I do celebrate Christmas. I actually am not done. Usually we celebrate Christmas Eve with two different families. We go to my mother-in-law's sister's place for like an early day sort of celebration. It's usually like a late lunch / early dinner. Then we go to my family's. Usually it's, close friends, because for my family, they still, live in Colombia, and my parents and I live here. So, I can't get with my parents, of course, but, we have close family friends, and they're kind of like our families, and many of them are from other countries, so we've kind of become each other's family. So we do celebrate Christmas Eve, which is a very Hispanic thing to do. I know a lot of families do it as well here, but, the focus is mostly on Christmas morning. Depending on if you're the religious type, maybe you'll go to a service on Christmas Eve, but your actual full celebration is usually Christmas morning / Christmas Day, from what I understand. In fact, when I first moved here, I thought it was so strange, like the whole Christmas morning thing, because you celebrate Christmas Eve and you stay up till midnight, and of course that's terribly hard on parents, because I don't know when they get the gifts out and tell the kids that, the gifts got dropped off magically. And did I mess that up? No. Okay, I thought I had an extra stitch in there. Anyway, yeah, so we do that. So we normally do that, but my mother-in-law's sister was quite sick and was not up to it, and she was really bummed, and she was going to try and feel better, but she did not. So we're going to go there today. So we have one more little mini Christmas to do, but we did celebrate with my parents / close family friends. And we also celebrated Christmas morning. We usually go to my in-laws. We have breakfast. We do gifts there. Then we go to another aunt's house, who is, not actually a biological aunt, but pretty much feels like it. She's been a close friend of my mother-in-law forever. And, yeah. So we go there. Then we go to someone in my in-laws' family's house. They alternate every year, and have our Christmas there. So it's a lot of celebrating. It's a lot of fun, but definitely exhausting. So it's nice to have a break and rest. Yeah, so I'll probably be having to get ready when I finish this video. Let's see, what time is it? 2:54. Maybe I should put a timer on. Should probably start getting ready in maybe like half an hour. Yeah, let's do that. I'll put a little timer on, so that'll remind me to get off. Anyway, yeah, so that'll be nice, and then we can have a bit of a break. At least I can have a bit of a break. I'm very excited. I am a teacher, as I've mentioned before, but in case you haven't seen any of my videos in the past, yep, that is me. I am a teacher. So I am on winter break schedule right now, which is wonderful. I know Trisha brought this up in her Stitch With Me video. It was the one where she was stitching on Ingleside Imaginarium's Guardians of Notre Dame Sal, in case you're interested in that. If I don't remember to put it below. Uh-oh, my frame is shifting. I really hope you can still see this, but I think you can. she mentioned how break this year for her, which also happened to be the case for me. This is actually the second year that it's like this. We got out Friday the 22nd was our last day of school. It was supposed to be a short day, which is students get released 2 hours earlier than staff. And sorry about that, I have to end my thread, so hopefully this does not look too weird. Yeah, so usually that's the case. This year, however, they had to redo the schedule because we lost several days due to Hurricane Irma, because I do live in Florida. I'm in Florida. Enough that we have to do makeup days. It isn't really very many because there's, I believe, 180 required days. And the way the calendar is set up, there's usually a few extra days in there in case something like this happens. You don't necessarily need to make up the time. But once you pass a certain number of days you've missed, you definitely do. Like, I know, was it last year? I think it was last year. We were meant to have a hurricane that did not end up hitting my area. And it was the first one in a while. I remember the last big one that hit my area was when I was in high school back in 2006. Which I know for some of you are like, shh, your baby. But trust me, sometimes I feel old, especially teaching 4th grade and some of the things these kids are like shocked about. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so yeah, last year we were supposed to be hit by a hurricane. It missed us, thankfully, but I know that other people were affected. And I'm gonna actually make sure my camera's still angled. Yep, looks good. And we only missed, I believe, 2 days. And we were very lucky, nothing happened for us. So, you know, we were back at school. I think it was a Thursday, Friday, and we were back at school that Monday. So we never had to make up that time. And I know some parents were very confused and concerned and wondering, like, oh, you know, my student, you know, my child never made up that time. But I mean, it's oops, sorry about that. It's set up to work out, so it's not like that big of a deal. But some parents didn't know that, so they just thought like those days went to waste. But they didn't. So anyhow, so one of the real things that they did to make up that time was to get rid of some half days and make them full days. But it really wasn't a great day to make a full day because it's the last day before winter break. A lot of families travel anyhow, especially with getting out the 22nd and Christmas being the following Monday. Like, if you need to travel, you need time. So it was quite intense on the timeline there. And, you know, it's not realistic that we're teaching a whole ton of material. We're working with fractions right now. My school's departmentalized, so I teach math and science. Obviously, the big focus is mainly math. So I had a lot of like winter holiday type fraction / review activities. My favorite one, I semi-created. I found one. There's a wonderful website called teacherspayteachers.com. If you create something that you think other teachers will enjoy, you can put up for whatever price you consider. So most teachers will put a few free items depending on what it is, and if it's something that, you know, you really put a lot of energy into, you can charge, you know, $1, $2, $5.50, whatever it happens to be. I mean, some teachers really create entire units and charge quite a bit more, but certainly worth it. And it's nice, you know, it's other educators that have created it, so they understand how to make the activity engaging and rigorous. And obviously there's you know, good ones and not so great ones. Anyway, so I saw one on there, and it was very, very I want to say elementary. I mean, I do teach elementary, but like primary elementary oriented, where it was a lot of holiday lights, and it just said, you know, color this many 5 and this many 6, and I'm like, well, that's, I mean, my kids will do that in no time. So we're working on common denominators. So what I did was that I found a free border online with lights, counted them up, decided that I did not like the number, so I used snipping tool and copy pasted in order to make an amount that I really liked. So sorry if you see pattern or hear pattern. I'm trying to adjust because I'm gonna have to swap colors here in a moment. So anyway, I created it, I added more lights to it, and I made it kind of like a little activity where they had to count the lights up, figure out what they were, realize that would be their common denominator. Then I had a bunch of fractions, and they had to convert them using that denominator that they found. So if they just rushed it and didn't count right, they could also make a mistake because they needed the correct denominator for it to make sense. And then after they found their equivalent fraction with the common denominator, they were able to color the correct amount, yellow and blue and green and purple and orange and red, I believe is what I had. So yeah, had that activity. Then I had another one where they had to practice subtracting large numbers with grouping, which is a skill they should already have, but it's always good to go back and reinforce things like that because students forget, or some students never quite understood it, whatever it happens to be. And then each answer went along with a letter, and it spelled out what Mrs. Claus said to Santa Claus when she looked up at the sky that night. And I believe the answer was, it looks like reindeer, but you know, reindeer, rain as in falling rain. Anyway, you guys get the picture. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. There was a couple others, but I don't quite remember them. I think there was one on multiplication. Yeah, I had a few, and then I just had some fun ones, like I had a word search and a gingerbread house. So like I try to keep it simple. Usually on days before breaks like that, we're asked to at least try to keep the first half of the day, you know, instructional, and then if we're gonna do something more like fun, try to wait till like after lunchtime or something. So again, just checking my angle here. I think I'm gonna have to shift a little bit. There we go. I think that's good. Sorry about that. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, that was a long way to talk about what I wanted. So basically we got out on the 22nd. It was a full day. It's not the best day to have made a full day because really it's not like you're making up that much time. A lot of students were out, understandably. There probably was a lot of staff out. I did see a lot of people there, but I mean, not everybody just lives here. They have families elsewhere and they need to travel, so it's totally understandable. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, Trisha was mentioning how it was a little strange, you know, getting out so close to Christmas and you feel so rushed because you literally have a couple days and then it's Christmas and you might not be done with everything that you need to do. And that was certainly how I felt last year, which was the first year that our schedule was that way. They announced, you know, that the last day of school, and it was even worse because last year Christmas landed on Sunday, so we literally got out the 23rd, and the next day was Christmas Eve. This year, at least, we had Friday evening and Saturday to kind of get stuff together, but not, you know, last year was just like next day. If you celebrate Christmas Eve, oh boy. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I like that. I like the time. But honestly, as a teacher, I know as a kid you don't really care. You're just waiting for whenever the break happens to be. As a parent, I can totally see where Trisha's coming from. Like, you just have so much going on. Especially if you know, have other responsibilities, whether it be work, or whatever, you know, it is. That you need that time, that break time to do things. As a teacher, though, it works out really nice because I would feel like, you know, we'd get out a week before, we'd have all this stuff, and like the first half of break was spent just prepping and running around and getting things, gifts and ingredients if you're making food, and my goodness, it was just so much. And then you had Christmas, and we had a break, and then literally you had like 4 days and you were back at it. And I know, in many professions you don't get very much of a break at all. And I get that. You know, I do get upset when people like get all like annoying about teachers and all the time off, and like, I mean, it's true. Like, we're not just making it up. We work very hard. We get in early. We stay late. We have, you know, after the kids leave, it's not like we're done. You know, we have to have parent conferences in the morning or in the afternoon. We have to grade papers. We have to make sure we're up on our email. We're going to trainings. We do not get paid 12 months out of the year. We only get paid the 10. And yes, you can ask for year-round pay, but that just means you get more. You get, you know, more checks, but less amount each check. And there's a lot to it. But I do feel very lucky to have the breaks that I have, and I'm very excited, and it's just nice that it's, you know, my first week of break, and I really have all of it that I could use to myself to do whatever it is that I'm going to do. Like last year, my hubby and I were able to go on a vacation, which was something we really weren't able to do unless we give up spending Christmas time with family. Because there's too much to do before Christmas. Hold on, I think I just want to thread it over. There's too much to do before Christmas to really go anywhere. And, oh, maybe I didn't. I think the fabric is just stretched funny. And then after Christmas, there's just not enough time unless we did something really close by, which might not necessarily be worth it. You know, we're very lucky to live in Florida, so we can just drive somewhere and like enjoy a beach day or something. It's not worth it to, like, maybe unless you do like Orlando to go to Disney, but going to Disney is getting to be quite pricey as they keep raising ticket prices, even for Florida residents. So there's not a lot of vacations that like we can do that we would consider worth it. Like, we would just rather drive and have a short mini vacation for one day, and that's it. And last year we were able to go to South Carolina, and we got to go, you know, stay at a cabin on a mountain and see some snow, and it was just really, really cool. And having that week, you know, like having this time now makes it really possible to do that, because, you know, we do our Christmas, we do everything, and then we have the time. My husband's very lucky where he works. He's kind of able to sort of take vacation whenever he wants, as long as nothing big is going on. And, you know, he works at a very small company. He has a pretty important job there, you know, so he can kind of request his days and usually get them for when he requests them. Of course, we haven't done that this year because he wants to use that time for when Isabella's born at the end of February or beginning of March, which is probably what's going to happen. And pardon me, I'm just making sure I do this corner right. Okay. So yeah, we just stayed in this year, but yeah, it was really nice to be able to do that. So as a teacher, it's really nice to have that time afterwards and really have a lot of time to myself before having to go back to work. So yeah, I'm excited. As I mentioned, I'm stitching on quotes to live by. I'm working on border. This piece has lots of border, lots of back stitching. If you notice, I'm literally just doing one leg at a time. And that's because I'm mainly stitching in a straight line here. And I'm rather picky about how my stitches look. I think they look kind of yucky when I stitch in a straight line if I just do little chunks of it. So I actually will do all of, even if it's like all the way across, I will do all the bottom legs and then come back, because I think it looks much more uniform that way. It looks just much better that way, and I'm happy with it. And it seems kind of annoying to stitch it this way, and in all honesty, it sometimes is. Obviously, if I'm working with a variegated, and you really want the variegation to show, you're supposed to do one stitch at a time, like the full stitch. So I guess that wouldn't work out. I don't know. I know a couple of people have mentioned that. I know it's not just me. I do remember Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff mentioning this. I can't remember who else, but I know that sticks out in my mind because I was like, hey, me too. When stitches are in a straight line and it's the only line of stitching, like it's not something like where there's, like if all these were the same color, then you could stitch it in a way that like the groups would look better, but it's just a little bit awkward, I guess. Maybe it's because each stitch is getting shifted, so they don't exactly line up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, if I'm honest. Hold on. Did I do an extra stitch there? No, I didn't. Okay. The only thing that is weird about that is something like this area here, where there's these two blank spots. Without it being a full X, sometimes it throws me off a little bit. So I really have to make sure I didn't accidentally miss a stitch or add an extra stitch. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to go all the way around this, and this is the last one, and then there's that, the writing in the actual quote. Before, so yeah, figured this is a great way to start stitch with me, something kind of repetitive, so I don't have to do too much thinking and accidentally mess up, and just have to unpick it all after we're done speaking here. So yeah, I guess that's all I really have in mind right now, so I'm glad I pulled something up. Oh, let's see, 11 minutes. Huh. I think I can do a little more than that. Let's go with maybe 20 something minutes. Okay, so I did pull up a tag. This is the Amy's holiday tag, I believe. I'm not sure who Amy is. I apologize. I just know that Danielle, Stitcherista, and Trisha at 3L Threads have done this tag in their Stitch With Me video, so I figured, why not? Yeah, I'm actually going to pause the video for a minute because usually it'll chunk it anyway and it'll be a weird jump. So I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's actually perfect. Let me set that. Apparently I have 20 minutes of battery left, so I'll just do 18 minutes of recording and maybe I'll finish. Anyway, so as I was saying, this tag was done by Danielle and Trisha, so I know it's past Christmas now, but it's close enough that it'll be fine. Apologize for my arm being in the way, just getting the pattern out of there. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm sorry if that bothered anyone. Yeah, so this is my tag. First question is favorite Christmas song. I have a lot. I have some in Spanish. Goodness, let me see. I know we're not supposed to play a lot of music, so I guess I'll just try and do a tiny bit here. But I have a lot of Spanish favorites, Spanish carols. I know one, apparently I sang when I was younger in a show, and I really like it because it's kind of a tongue twister, and I did really well with it, I think. I think it's this one. I'll try and play a section of it that actually makes sense. Is it this one? Yeah, that's it. That's not the tongue twistery part. So I have no idea if you actually understood that. I hope you did. But yeah, it was really challenging, and I just remember that apparently I did really well with it, so that was pretty cool. I don't know, I think that's like a thing in a lot of countries, is Christmas carols sung by children. I feel like most of the Christmas carols I grew up listening, which were in Spanish, were all by children's choirs, and I really enjoyed that. There's only a couple songs that had some adult singers in it as well. Two particular ones were a child having a conversation with their parent or parents. One song was a parent. The other song, I think, was their parents or just some adult figure. So, you know, they had an adult singer. But I really enjoy that. I mean, not that I don't like Christmas carols sung by adults, but I really like Christmas carols sung by children. Another one that I really like, it's a bit religious, and I think, Trisha, this is actually the one you mentioned, but I do really like it, and they sing it every year at our Passion Play at church, which is actually around Easter, but they also play this song in the holidays, is Mary Did You Know, because it's just so, like, awe-inspiring, I guess. I know Pentatonics did one of their a cappella versions of it, I believe last year or 2 years ago, so it got pretty popular. Yeah, I really like that song. It's just really awesome. And I was not a mother at the time. I guess technically I'm still not, I mean, I am a mother because I'm pregnant, and I believe, you know, she's there, she's alive, so I'm a mom, but she's not here yet. But I've always liked that song, and I'm sure it'll strike even more when she's here and when I'm a mom to a being outside of the womb. Yeah. So yeah, favorite Christmas song. Least favorite Christmas song? I don't know. I haven't listened to a lot of parodies, but I'm sure those would probably annoy me. So I would probably have to go with Christmas song parodies. I'm sure not every single one, because I'm sure there'll be some that I'll find funny, but there are some that I know I probably would not enjoy. Favorite Christmas movie? Home Alone, the first one. I've watched 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2 are with the same boy. 3 is with a different kid. I do like that one. It's a bit of fun. It's a little different. And then there were some that were like, I think there was 5 now. I haven't seen 4 and 5. I don't know if I'm really interested. But I really like the original Home Alone. And I do like Home Alone 2 as well. It's pretty amusing. Favorite Christmas dessert? I don't know. Can you pick just one? I don't know if this is really fair because it's not really a Christmas dessert, but I really like flan. You know, again, I'm Hispanic, and we have Hispanic desserts pretty much at every event, Thanksgiving, etc. So I don't know if it counts just as a Christmas dessert, but I really enjoy flan. It's very, very yummy. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment below. What are some traditional American Christmas desserts, or from whatever country you're from, because I feel like a lot of our get-togethers are very Hispanic oriented. I mean, we do have turkey and ham and cranberry sauce, but there's always, especially the desserts, I feel are usually very Hispanic oriented. See, in my in-laws, there's always pies. I do like the chocolate pie. It's pretty good. But is that specifically a Christmas dessert? I feel like that's something they have at a lot of their parties because they just really like pie. So I don't know. Anyway, number 5, best present you've ever received. I don't know. I have a lot of presents I've really liked. I don't even know if I remember all the presents. Yeah. I got the Michaels cart this year. That's like basically the Michael's version of the IKEA cart. That's pretty cool. Gotten some awesome Stitchy gifts in the past. And I have other gifts I've gotten that I really enjoy. I don't know. It's hard to pick one because I've had a lot of presents I really liked. I guess I could say, I think our 2nd year of marriage, my husband got me the laptop that I currently am still using. It's wonderful. It's the Lenovo Yoga 2. I really like that present. It's very useful. I used it through my master's, was very helpful because there was a lot of online work to do that, and it's great because I can do all my other hobby things on there, like getting on Facebook, getting on FlossTube, editing videos, so I could say that's one of them. Worst Christmas present? To be honest, nothing sticks out. It really doesn't. I don't think I've ever gotten a present and I'm like, oh, this is great. So I don't think I've gotten a really bad Christmas present, which is great, you know. That would not be a fun experience to have. Any Christmas traditions? I mean, the different celebrations I talked about earlier, you know, going to the certain people's houses. Like, we always go to my mother-in-law's sister. We always go meet up with the same friends, even if it's not in the same household. Hold on. Okay. We always have breakfast at my in-laws on Christmas morning. We always go to that aunt's house afterward. I don't want to like use names and stuff. So I don't know. I guess the get-togethers are Christmas traditions. There really isn't anything else. I kind of like the idea of taking pictures in Christmas jammies, especially starting next year. So maybe I'll create that tradition. I just think it's very cute. I really like that. So maybe that's something I could start. But yeah, nothing other than that. Where am I? Favorite thing about Christmas? I don't know, just the festiveness of it. I really love, and I know it's not necessarily the case for everybody. Some people have anxiety and they do get very anxious about it, but I feel like all the people around me are always very festive and happy, and it's just a great time. Everybody is feeling generous. I love giving stuff. Doesn't even have to be anything expensive. I mean, it's nice to get cool things. It's awesome to get a neat gift, especially something you've been wanting. Especially if the person remembers and you weren't like, oh yeah, I want this, get it for me. Or they ask you, but like just that they think of you and they remember something you said or mentioned. I think that's so awesome. But just giving, like thinking of a person and thinking of something they'd enjoy or like, and getting it for them and wrapping it up and seeing them get excited about it. I really do like that. It's fun to surprise people and make them feel special, because they are, and we don't always remind certain people of that. And we should. So it's just a good time. What question was that? Least favorite thing about Christmas? Shopping. As much as I like giving stuff, I mean, you know, we've got online now, which is extremely helpful, but I just don't like shopping in general. I like getting certain things, yes, but I'm the type of person that I know what I want. I go get it. I come home. I don't wonder. I don't look at 500 different things and make all these pit stops. I don't really enjoy the mall. Being in South Florida, being very close to a very large mall, you may recognize the name. It's Sawgrass Mall. I know I'm totally giving away kind of my area, but I did say South Florida near Fort Lauderdale, so you know. It's just such a big tourist spot. It's always full. And if you want something from a store that's there, like, you have to be so strategic about when you go. I mean, malls in general can get crazy, but a tourist spot like that, where people from other countries fly in literally to shop there and they spend days in there, it can be quite frustrating when you're a local and you just want to go to this one store to get this one thing, and it's madness. So I really don't like how full the stores are, how much is going on. I don't really like that. Do you do any baking in or cooking for the holidays? Not much of a chef, I guess I would say. I like trying recipes, but I don't cook a lot. My husband does a lot more cooking than I do. I do like to bake, but I don't like traditionally bake something every single year that I always do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's not like a have to do it sort of thing. When decorating for Christmas, do you go all out or do the minimum? I'd have to say somewhere in between. I would love to go all out, but that can get expensive, so I don't know. We're very weird about how we spend our money and what we spend it on, and I'm like, do I really need this? You know, I mean, it'd be cute, but, So usually what I do is every year I buy a few things, and every year it looks like I go a little bit more out. Because I have more stuff. I do like decorating, but I would say it's somewhere in between. I don't like to do the bare minimum, but I definitely don't go all out because we just don't have the stuff to go all out with, and I don't like spending that huge chunk of money all at once. So every year I've been getting a little bit more stuff. Do you send or receive more holiday cards? Receive. I'm not big on sending out cards. I don't know, it was never a thing I did growing up, so I've just never really continued to do it or ever really done it. But a few family members in my husband's side of the family seem to have that tradition, so we get a few cards from the same people every year. It's a very sweet thought, but I just never really got into it, that I'm not sure I really will do that. Maybe we will now that Isabella's born. I can see us sending a Christmas photo card. So maybe we will become someone who sends out cards, but mainly because that way we can, I guess, sort of update people. I mean, we have Facebook now, even though not everybody has it, but update people on what she looks like and how she's growing and etc. Eggnog, yay or nay, or is that what it says? Yay or nope. For me, it's a nope. I don't really like it. My husband does. It's never been a thing for me. I don't really enjoy it. Just tastes funky to me. Do you do your holiday shopping early or late? Depends. Usually, pretty late. But if it's something where I know somebody has been wanting something and I see it, I'll get it. But as a whole, I tend to be pretty late. This year we did pretty good. We only had one gift that we bought the day before, but we knew exactly where it was, like what it was and what store would have it. So I guess we weren't really in a rush, so it wasn't something that would be sold out or anything. Yeah, but there are other years where I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to get gifts. Christmas is like tomorrow. So yeah, pretty bad at that. Who is the easiest person to buy for? Gosh, the easiest. I don't know if I have anybody I consider easy to buy for. Maybe my hubby, in the sense that I can easily find things that he's gonna like that are fun. But something very specific that he wants is actually not easy because he's so technical. and techie, and a lot of the stuff he likes are very techie related. And unless I knew he's been talking about a specific model of something, I would not just get, like if he said he wanted a phone, I couldn't just buy a phone because, and that's a bad example because a lot of people are very picky with what they like. But just, I don't know, headphones. Like some people just, I want headphones, I don't care what they look like, I just need headphones that I could hear out of. No, if I went and bought him headphones, like, oh man, I better know exactly what he wants. But if it's something cute, or like, not, cute, he's a guy, but like nerdy, like, I can find things that I think he'll find funny. So that, in that sense, is easy. But I think most people in my life are a little bit tough to shop for. Alright, I'm trying to speed this up because I have to get ready to go to my mother-in-law's sister's house in like 10 minutes. Who is the most difficult? Probably my dad. He likes very large items that, again, are very techy. So one, they're expensive, probably not something I could afford. And two, like, just very precise. So I wouldn't want to just get anything. And sometimes it's hard to find him. Like, he likes a concise amount of things, so I wouldn't want to get him the same type of thing over and over. Like, I feel like to a certain extent he's easy to shop for if I get him the things I know he likes, but I feel like I would be very repetitive with my gifts if I did that. So that's why I say that. Have I ever regifted something? Probably. Nothing where it was a very personal gift though. Usually it was more like something I either got like at school or something. Like if I I tend to get a lot of lotion. Sometimes that'll get regifted just because I just don't need it. I wouldn't use it. But not something where I'm like, oh, I just hate this and I don't want it, so let me just give it away. Like, no, not quite like that. So yeah, just making sure this matches up. There we go. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Besides yourself, who is the best gift giver? My goodness, my mother-in-law is amazing. She will remember stuff that you mentioned like 4 months ago and get you that. She is so, and because she considers herself like she considers it difficult to shop for people, she's always to just to do it without thinking, I guess. So she's like, no, I gotta take note of when people mention something, because if not, I'm not gonna know what to buy. So she will keep I don't know if she writes it down or she just remembers, but she is great at remembering, and it doesn't have to be expensive, even though usually she tries to give us larger items that she knows we wouldn't buy for ourselves, but we'd like. But it could be a small thing, and she will remember that and get it for you, and it's really, really thoughtful. Have you ever experienced a white Christmas? Yes, a couple times. Not till I was older. I think the very first time I must have been either very end of high school or very beginning of college. Once was in Canada while visiting my godfather, and one was in Pennsylvania visiting my cousin. So 2 white Christmases. And it was awesome because I'd waited a long time to see that. What is the thing you want most this Christmas? Well, it already passed, but I just wanted to see as many family members as possible and enjoy being with them. It's just my favorite thing. And just interacting with people that maybe I don't always necessarily see. That's always the best part. And I know that sounds kind of like a silly cliche answer, but it's the truth. It's nice to hang out with those people that you don't see a lot, that you really enjoy hanging out with, but you just don't get the chance to see. Do you typically stitch gifts to give for Christmas? goodness, I have stitched a couple stockings. I've mentioned that a few times. They're not necessarily Christmas gift though. They're used at Christmas. I guess I haven't, but there are some people I consider stitching for. So it's not a typical thing then, I guess. No. Do you prefer traditional holiday decor or more modern? Probably more traditional. I like some modern stuff, but most of the stuff, I guess, is traditional. I don't know exactly what's considered more modern. What I'm thinking is traditional stuff, so I'm guessing traditional. Have you ever traveled for the holidays? Yes. We spent a couple Christmases with my family in Colombia. We spent a couple, the one I mentioned in Canada and Pennsylvania. But it's not a common thing. We usually are in the area. Do you enjoy wrapping gifts? I actually do. I'm very, perfectionist when it comes to wrapping gifts, and I like the paper to match up, and if there's lines, I try to get the lines in the wrapping paper to match up. And I know some of you are like, are you serious? But yeah, I do. I think it's fun. I've had some years where I'm over it, but for the most part I really do. And if I use different wrapping papers, they coordinate, and I get fancy with it, and it's a lot of fun. And I usually wrap my own gifts for my husband. He'll make sure they're in a box, and he'll be like, I mean, you could try and unwrap the mess I make, or you could wrap it yourself. And sometimes I'm like, just wrap it. And other times I've just wrapped it because I can tell he really doesn't want to. So I enjoy it. And last question, which is right on time, because I really do have to go get ready. Have you ever received a holiday gift that meant so much to you that you cried? I don't know if it was so much that it meant so much to me. I was just very shocked and surprised. I'm not much of a crier for that type of thing. I get very excited about it. I got really excited when my hubby got me the laptop. I know the one year my parents got me a GPS that I got excited, but I wasn't crying. I mean, I don't know. I think one year that I remember tearing up was the very first year my mother-in-law got me something very big that I'd mentioned, in June or July. Literally that early on, and she remembered and she got it. And that was the KitchenAid. And it was a combination of this is a really pricey gift. And I can't believe you remember I mentioned this 6 months ago. So I teared up, but I wasn't sobbing or crying. I was just wow, that's so thoughtful. And the fact that you remembered that was really cool. Because I feel like my family and I are very materialistic. Most of our gifts aren't very pricey. Except my mother-in-law, again, she likes to get things that are pricier because it's something that she can purchase. She's able to. And she knows we wouldn't otherwise because it'd be cool. We'd love to have it. But realistically, we have other things we're going to spend our money on. And she likes doing that. That's her thing. But I mean, if you got me a lip gloss from Claire's for $6 that I would like, that's fine to me. And my husband and I do that a lot. We get each other little trinkets and things that are fun for us. So yeah, I mean, well, now he's got, stitching is a great thing for him in a way because I can give him ideas of what I want. And there are years where he wants me to tell him exactly what I want, and there are years where he wants to surprise me completely. So I don't know. I'm not much of a crier in the first place. I'm expecting the next time I'll really truly emotionally cry is when Isabel is born. But for little stuff I don't do it a lot. So yeah, I teared up with that gift because it was thoughtful and she remembered, and it was the first time she gave me something real pricey, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge. And she's like, no, it's fine. I know you wouldn't get it for yourself. And the fact that she remembered 6 months ago I mean, that was really cool. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed my first stitch with me. I hoped it was zoomed in enough and it wasn't too wonky. I got a bit done there. I finished the light yellow green border. I started on the blue border. Hopefully I'll get this quote done and maybe start on the next one over my break. And I will see you soon. I plan on doing a whip parade sometime over this break. End of year video. I gotta do my Europe whips video because I want to do that. So that'll be separate from the whip parade. So that's at least maybe 3 videos coming up. 4 if you count this one. This one, Europe whips, just a regular update, I guess. Maybe another stitch with me. We'll see. Anyway, see you later, guys. Thank you for stitching with me. And if you have any suggestions on how I could make this any better, leave me comments down below. Alright, bye!